Hello. A humble child born in the obscurity of a small town embarked on a path of crime and became a giant that shook the very foundations of society. That child was none other than Huseyin Bay Basin, an innocent boy who transformed into Europe's most notorious drug lord, often compared to Pablo Escobar. By the age of 20, Huseyin had already found himself in serious trouble after being caught with cannabis, setting the stage for a life filled with crime. But how did an ordinary boy from Turkey rise to the throne of the European underworld? What drove him to build such a devastating criminal empire? Huseyin was born on December 25, 1956 in Lice, a small impoverished town in southeastern Turkey. This region, predominantly Kurdish, was often plagued by economic hardship and political conflict, making the youth vulnerable to being drawn into a life of crime. Huseyin's family was no exception. They struggled to make ends meet, which likely influenced Huseyin's later choices in life. His first brush with the law came in 1976 when he was just 20 years old. During a police raid at his home in Lice, authorities discovered 11 kilograms of cannabis, a significant quantity that indicated he had already become deeply involved in the drug trade. Lice's proximity to major drug smuggling routes from the Middle East to Europe explains why he became involved in drug trafficking so early on. Huseyin may have used his connections to acquire the cannabis, suggesting that he was not just a small-time dealer, but a significant player in the drug trade network. This incident led to Huseyin being sentenced to 2 years in prison, but instead of deterring him, his time behind bars exposed him to more criminals and allowed him to learn more about the underworld. Upon his release, he returned more determined and prepared for a larger role in organized crime, eventually becoming one of Europe's most infamous drug lords. Before reaching the pinnacle of his career, Huseyin faced numerous betrayals. Many of his former allies became enemies due to power struggles. This forced Huseyin to leave the region and seek greater opportunities elsewhere, setting his sights on the United Kingdom. In 1984, Huseyin Bay Basin's criminal career escalated dramatically with a significant operation in the UK. During Operation Takedown, he was arrested for heroin trafficking and possession of a fake passport. This operation was coordinated by officers from the Metropolitan Police who had been tracking the movement of heroin from Afghanistan through Turkey into Europe. Huseyin was identified as a key figure in this network. His arrest was the culmination of months of surveillance and intelligence gathering. Officers had monitored him after intercepting communications related to large shipments of heroin. He was finally apprehended in a sting operation where undercover officers posed as buyers. This operation was carried out amid growing concerns over the increasing flow of heroin into the UK, which was causing severe social and health impacts. Huseyin was tried and sentenced to 12 years in prison. However, his time in the UK was surprisingly short. After just 4 years, he was transferred back to Turkey in a mysterious move. Official documents did not clearly explain the reasons for this transfer, but it is suspected that diplomatic negotiations might have been involved. Huseyin's release just 4 months after being transferred from the UK to Turkey in 1989 sparked a wave of rumors and accusations of government corruption. Many believed that there were hidden forces and powerful connections working behind the scenes to secure his early release. However, Huseyin's freedom was short-lived. Just 4 days after his release, he was arrested again in Sivas, a city near Istanbul. This time, the charges were more severe: drug possession and illegal possession of firearms. It was clear that Huseyin had quickly returned to his criminal ways, seemingly learning no lessons from his time in prison. Reports indicated that at the time of his arrest, Huseyin was in possession of a large amount of heroin and an unlicensed gun. It is highly likely that he had arranged to obtain these items while still in prison through his corrupt network, which included local officials. This network allowed him to swiftly resume his criminal activities, highlighting the deep-rooted corruption and the connections he had with other criminals. Despite the seriousness of his crimes, which should have led to a long prison sentence, but Huseyin was not held for long. His quick departure from Turkey without further legal trouble demonstrated just how powerful his network was. This network included not only other criminals, but also influential figures in politics and law enforcement, allowing him to manipulate the system to his advantage. However, Huseyin's reckless and brazen actions angered many, and the world had yet to witness the peak of his power. After fleeing Turkey, Huseyin chose Amsterdam as the strategic base for his heroin empire. The city, known for its large port and position as a key logistical hub in Europe, became the perfect point for distributing heroin across the continent. Choosing Amsterdam was a strategic move, taking advantage of established smuggling routes and the city's relatively lenient policies, and Huseyin didn't act alone. While Huseyin was busy establishing his drug trafficking network in Amsterdam, his brother, Abdullah Bay Basin, was building a similar operation in North London, another key location that provided access to the lucrative UK market. This strategic regional division between the brothers allowed them to expand their influence and control over the European heroin market. Huseyin's empire revolved around the heroin trade originating from Afghanistan, the primary producer of opium, the raw material used to process heroin. The drugs were transported through Iran and Turkey, taking advantage of the loose borders and the chaotic political situation in the region. From Turkey, where Huseyin had established close relationships with local power brokers, the heroin was shipped to Amsterdam and from there distributed across Western Europe. This network was not just a drug trafficking enterprise, but a smoothly operating machine, exploiting regional instability in Asia and liberal policies in Europe. Unlike many other drug lords, Huseyin was quite open about his criminal activities. He frequently appeared in the media, discussing his operations and his influence in power circles in both Turkey and the Kurdish community. This bold public stance was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it solidified his reputation as a leader unafraid of the law, which may have enhanced his standing in the underworld. On the other hand, this openness provided law enforcement agencies with valuable information to use against him. Interviews and public statements by Huseyin painted a portrait of a man full of contradictions, both a cunning businessman and a brutal crime lord. He proudly boasted about his close ties with powerful networks, including NATO officers and the Turkish embassy, whom Huseyin claimed had facilitated his drug trafficking operations with ease. Huseyin not only built a vast drug empire, but also crafted an image of a smart entrepreneur mixed with the audacity of a notorious gangster. He defied both the authorities and his rivals by maintaining a prominent media presence while still running a large-scale drug smuggling network, showcasing the sophistication and complexity of his control over power and influence in the underworld. Like any empire in the criminal world, Huseyin's reign eventually had to collapse. In 1998, his empire came to a dramatic end when Huseyin was arrested in the Netherlands in a large-scale operation involving several European countries. This operation, named Operation Nemesis, was the result of collaboration between police forces from the UK, Italy, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. These agencies had closely monitored Huseyin's every move for years, piecing together clues related to the heroin network he operated across Europe. On March 27, 1998, a swift raid took place in a small village in North Holland, the Netherlands. At the location where Huseyin was apprehended, authorities found irrefutable evidence linking him to criminal activities, including documents related to money laundering from drug transactions, and even information about a murder he was alleged to be involved in. The charges Huseyin faced included conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping, drug trafficking, and leading a criminal organization. His arrest was a major victory for European law enforcement, demonstrating the power of international cooperation in the fight against drug smuggling and organized crime. The subsequent trial attracted significant public attention. The prosecution's focus was on phone recordings which clearly captured Huseyin discussing drug deals and issuing orders for violent acts. These recordings became a central point of controversy when Huseyin's defense argued that they had been tampered with and could not be considered reliable evidence, However, the truth was too clear to deny. In February 2001, Huseyin was convicted on multiple charges, including conspiracy to commit murder and drug trafficking. The court sentenced him to life in prison, a sentence reflecting the severity of his crimes and the wealth of evidence collected through wiretaps. The life of a drug lord inevitably comes with its consequences. Since his imprisonment in 2001, Huseyin has faced severe mental health issues. Reports indicate that he developed chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and somatization disorder. Huseyin's PTSD included severe anxiety attacks, flashbacks, and prolonged psychological distress related to painful experiences both before and after his arrest. Somatization disorder manifested through physical symptoms like pain and discomfort without clear medical causes, believed to be driven by psychological stress. These mental health issues have worsened over time, significantly impacting Huseyin's ability to function daily and his interactions with prison staff and other inmates. He has undergone multiple psychiatric evaluations and requires special medical interventions within the prison system. Despite being incarcerated, rumors that Huseyin continued to control his drug empire never died down. It is believed that through encrypted communications and visits, he was still able to issue orders and manage operations from behind bars. Moreover, his family, particularly his siblings and close associates, are believed to have played an active role in maintaining the organization's operations. The involvement of his family ensured that even while imprisoned, Huseyin's power remained intact, allowing him to continue controlling the drug trade from the shadows. Although Huseyin's claims are difficult to verify, but law enforcement agencies across Europe have not taken them lightly. This reflects the deep infiltration of the criminal networks Huseyin had skillfully built and the challenges of completely dismantling such organizations. One shocking aspect of Huseyin's case is his claim that his criminal activities were not only tolerated, but also sponsored by the Turkish government. According to him, this cooperation was not voluntary, but was coerced, involving collusion at the highest levels of government. Huseyin alleged that powerful figures within Turkish politics and law enforcement not only permitted, but sometimes directed his drug trafficking operations, turning them into part of sophisticated geopolitical strategies. These bold statements suggest that Huseyin's criminal empire did not serve only his interests, but also acted as a tool for the hidden political and economic agendas of Turkish officials. These allegations sparked numerous investigations, but uncovering concrete evidence has proven extremely difficult due to the thick veil of corruption, politics, and international intrigue. The continued surveillance of Huseyin's network, even while he is imprisoned, demonstrates the European agency's determination to root out the drug empire he operated. However, this case also highlights the significant challenges these agencies face, from jurisdictional limitations and differences in legal systems to the need for intelligence sharing and coordinated action on a global scale. The fight against Huseyin's criminal empire is not just a battle against an individual, but against a complex and powerful criminal system. What do you think about this story? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below for everyone to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support me. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.